some of you may not know, I actually worked in running specialty retail for over 2 years, helping fit customers for running shoes, finding the right running shoes. So know a good amount about that. And 8 miles, that's a good distance. That's awesome. So today, I wanted to share my biggest tips for helping you find the right running shoes. Really, the most important piece of equipment you can get as a new runner is a good pair of running shoes. Keeping your feet comfortable is going to make it much more likely that you're going to stay with it, as opposed to if your feet are hurting as you're running, it's going to throw everything off, and it's going to be less likely that you're going to stick with your training. That said, ladies, the two things you're going to need: number one, running shoes; number two, a good sports bra. So make sure that you invest in that if you're starting to run. So what to look for in running shoes? First and foremost, go to a running specialty retailer to get fit for running shoes for the first time. If you've never been fit, definitely go through a gait analysis. Have a trained professional take a look at your gait, whether or not you overpronate, underpronate, just, if there's rotation in your feet as you run. I think pretty much every running store will give you a gait analysis for free. I know things can also change over time. So I used to be very, very neutral. Actually, my feet would supinate or roll out. I still do that a little bit on my toes, but actually I've gotten over the years a little bit more flexibility in my feet. And so I actually have switched to using just like a mild stability shoe. So if it's been several years since you've been analyzed for your gait, consider going back into, again, a running specialty retailer. Have them look and see if you need to switch shoes, because especially if you're having some injuries, that could be helpful. And then if you are at that running specialty retailer, they'll kind of walk you through finding the right shoe based on what they recommend. Yes, absolutely. And so things to look for when you are getting a shoe: your shoe size in running shoes is going to be at least half a size bigger than your normal shoes. Sometimes it will be even a full size, or even a size and a half if your street shoes are honestly too small. You want to have a full thumb width between the end of your toes and the tip of your shoe. And that's going to help make sure that you don't lose toenails. Honestly, your feet will swell as you're running, and it's incredibly, incredibly important. It may feel a little weird to start running in a shoe that's too big, but you will get used to it over time. And this is particularly true if you're training for long distances. If you're training for a half marathon or marathon, especially if you are running in the summer, your feet are going to swell. Even as you run longer distances, your feet swell, and that's the reason why you get that extra space in the front of your shoes. So you shouldn't be losing toenails if your shoes are the right size. However, if your running shoes are too small, losing toenails is honestly kind of a common thing. Yes, thank you. Happy New Year. And yes, so sizing, very important. And then when it comes down to it, look for the shoe that is most comfortable for you. So this was one of the most frustrating things when I was working in running specialty retail. People would go for the colors. They'd say, oh, I don't like the look of that shoe. But honestly, the biggest thing that you can do is make sure that you get the shoe that feels the best on your foot, the shoe that comes closest to making you forget that you're wearing a shoe or wearing a running shoe, and that will honestly feel the best at the end of your long runs. And yeah, running shoe technology has come a long way over time. And then for somebody who asked, I am broadcasting from the Chicago suburbs, so it's kind of frigid here. I'm strongly considering investing in a pair of Gore-Tex running shoes soon. I had a pair and then my feet grew and now they're too tight, so I need to get a pair that fit right. So again, my biggest tips for finding the right shoe for you: go to a running specialty retailer. Make sure that you are in the right category of shoe. Definitely don't want to be over supported. There are some people who, yes, yes, they take grow. There are some people who, for example, they naturally run on the outsides of their feet or supinate. And honestly, I run races, and it's sort of a little thing I do. I'll watch the people running in front of me, and and I notice if they're being over supported or under supported. I've seen people who naturally roll out and they are running in a very, very stable shoe like the Brooks Adrenaline. That's just going to make you run even more on the outsides of your feet. It's going to put you at risk for getting shin splints on the outsides of your legs, can even cause issues with the IT band, that sort of thing. So just make sure that you have the right amount of support. Be prepared to invest a little bit in a shoe. Really, you do get what you pay for in terms of a running shoe. You may be able to get, for example, last year's model for a slightly lower price, which is something that you can do if you're trying to stay budget conscious, but really do invest in a good shoe. Don't go for the $30 or $40 shoe. The cushioning is not going to be very good. So be prepared to spend a little bit of money and then go for the one that's most comfortable for you, because honestly, that is what's going to help keep you running, is keeping everything comfortable from the bottom up. So hope these tips were helpful for you. If you have any further questions about choosing running shoes, again, head to your running specialty retailer, or I'm always happy to answer questions, Beth@sublimelyfit.com.